All right, welcome everyone. Thank you for your time today. We're going to start off just with a quick description. My name is Chris Fabry. I'm the Director of Solutions Architects and Customer Advocacy at Synergis. I've been in this business for well over 30 years and been with Synergis for 17 years now. We're excited to share with you the value Adept provides and to answer any questions you may have. So here's just a little bit about Synergis first. We've been developing, implementing, and supporting engineering document management solutions for more than 26 years. Our flagship product, Adept, helps companies find, manage, share, and control engineering and business content throughout the lifecycle of a project, product, or facility. More than 70,000 worldwide users benefit from Adept across a variety of industry and sectors. Our customers range from process manufacturing to utilities, mining and metals, oil and gas, engineering and construction contractors, discrete or industrial manufacturers, those with buildings and facilities to manage, and pharmaceuticals, to name just a few. Our flagship engineering document management solution is Synergis Adept. The simplicity of Adept is key. Dr. Joel Orr of Scion Research called it simple power, and we think that says it all. This offers an unmatched time to value and ROI. We have a huge array of customers managing their as-built facilities engineering information as well as their capital projects and renovations with Adept, whether it's government campuses like that at the IRS and the Coast Guard, or corporate campuses like Amazon, Caterpillar, and Progressive Insurance, universities like University of Houston, or organizations like FedEx Ground managing their distribution centers. Adept helps to connect engineering and operations, and it helps get projects done faster and with greater quality. So the way we thought we'd manage this, there's really a lot of different challenges that you all face. Today we're going to look at the common challenges that kind of apply across all types of facilities, whether you're talking about a facility like a campus style, a university or a hospital, or whether it's a machine layout or a distribution facility. So let's start with those and what's common between them, and then after that we'll look at a couple items for each of those different styles, what's unique to them and their needs in this area. So first off, everyone has files. Almost everyone has too many different versions to search through quickly, and yet that's exactly what you guys are all being asked to do every single day, is that. We also have the challenge of keeping or grabbing this information from people that are retiring on a regular basis. There's a large retiring workforce right now, and it's imperative to get that tribal knowledge from them, but also easily from them. We'll talk a little bit about that one. And then managing change, excuse me. Trying to manage change through more paper or spreadsheets, it really is probably not getting you very far. You simply need this to send a set of files to be seen by the appropriate people in the appropriate order. I'd love to be able to say what could be simpler than that, but I know there is a lot more things simpler than that. So let's take a look at how some of this can be addressed with Synergis Adept. So we're going to start off with a couple of those common challenges. The first one is really finding things. Then whether you're in a design mode as a CAD operator searching for drawings, or out in the field performing a maintenance and searching for manuals or as-built designs, really finding the right file and the right version is really critical. Now, in Adept, there's many different ways of locating files. One of them is through a search card. And the idea is pretty straightforward. You type in what you know. If that happens to be the building name, that's fine. Some of those might be pull downs. Maybe you're looking for a specific discipline and you don't want to see everything, just the emergency plans. So the more information that you put in when you search, the shorter the results list will come back. So every single document and even record in Adept can have a data card, and it's automatically associated with it. You don't have to tell it to do it. Every customer of ours has a different looking data card, but very simply, the data card collects business critical information about all of your files. Now, as administrators, you would get to design this. It's a real simple drag and drop interface to create your cards. Now, some of this data can be automatically extracted from your documents. For example, these are attributes that are inside that drawing title block. So I didn't have to fill in any of that. Adept read those right from those attributes. There's also fields and properties that can be configured as pull-down or selections, and that way you don't have people mistyping information or having to retype information. Some of those fields might be involving restricted values, so based on one selection here, that might drive different options in this field, and so on and so on. There's also a memo field where people can type in notes to each other. There's a thumbnail image so you can see a quick peek at the file. So this card was designed with a specific group of people in mind. It was laid out just as they needed. When we help a lot of our customers put Adept in place, part of it usually includes the question, what do you usually know? And this layout would be dictated by that. So for one group, that's the perfect arrangement. For project managers, they like to see these fields. These are the only ones that they want to search on. Some tabs might have exactly the same information. Some might have unique information about that file that only they're supposed to see. So these too can be configured by your groups. Somebody that's a vendor or contractor, you may want to limit them to only be able to see these things, and you can even take away their ability to change which view they're looking at. They would only get to search and see on this. So this is very, very configurable. These data cards are designed to lean towards what people are already doing. For example, this area, I laid it out looking exactly like our title block. So for everybody that was used to those drawing formats, they were already used to this arrangement of information. Now, that's one way of searching for documents. And anytime you have a results list performed by a search, you can also decide what columns of information you want to see showing up, how you want them arranged. This is just my example right here. Another method for locating files very, very quickly, and you've probably tried to do this with Windows folders, but you may have noticed that the results are limited. If I know part of a file name, I can just type that in, and here's every file in the system that I have access to. Now you notice that was very, very fast. Because I'm performing a search on a database, the results come back very, very quickly. And that search isn't limited to just the file name. It really goes for any field of information that you want to search on. So if 90% of the time when you go looking for a file, you know the project name, or you know the building name, or you know the project phase, or any field you want. In this case, I can change, I want to go by the building name. So now I can just type in part of a building name, and I see every file involved with that building, whether they're drawings or photographs or anything that's involved with that building. So that's a quick search, and that's done one field at a time. There's also the ability to go in and switch to full text search. So if you happen to be looking at a printout of a document and you see a specific word, here's, oops, I actually did double search there. Let me just do part of that here. Back that up. There we go. So here's every file that I have access to that has the word initial somewhere in the file. It doesn't have to be in the title block. It doesn't have to be a property or an attribute. It really just has to be text. I don't want to overpromise that. It does not do any kind of object character recognition. It won't recognize the word stop on a stop sign in a picture. But as you can see, many other file formats will be a full text searchable. PDFs also can be full text search depending on how they were created. So that's one method of locating all these files. Another method is called the file guide view. The file guide view will actually sort the documents based on data that you're already tracking. And what it does is it creates a tree structure that looks and feels just like a standard Windows folder, but it's actually based on that data. So here I've got listed for me all the files involved that I have access to sorted by the building name. So I can click on this building name and see everything for that building. Now, if I want to give it a little more information, I can narrow down my list. I can say I just want the floor plans. Only 5 are for that building. There's 1 mechanical, 3 piping. So you can sort based on that data in a very fast way. Within 2 mouse clicks, you've gotten to what you want. Again, part of our investigation with our customers is to ask them what are the 2 or 3 things that you know about your documents whenever you go looking for them. And that information will build a great file guide view. For example, some project managers, they might want to see everything organized by workflow status. What workflow process are the files going through, and what step of the workflow are they on? That's a very quick way for them to get at a couple different files. Another group may say, well, we don't really deal with building name. We're more concerned with the discipline first, because we always have to get to the emergency plans. So it just is different ways of sorting the files. You're still getting to the same file itself. Now, it does not matter what sort method or search method you use to find your files. Whenever you find a document in Adept, you are finding the latest version of that file. It's only when you're looking at this document dashboard, and actually a lot of people leave this pinned up, that you can see older versions. For example, if I look at a mechanical drawing here, I can see it has, actually went to the wrong one. Let me go to a slightly different building name. There we go. So this file right here, you can see has much older versions, but when you're searching, by default, you only find the latest. Only some users will have access to these older versions, the ones given those rights. So Adept is always making sure you have the latest version. If I check out a file, make edits to it, and check it back in, Adept will make that a new version. For some of our customers, they use the Adept version as their version. Other customers decide to use their own field called revision and make it A's or B's or 2's or 3's. In fact, Adept can also help you automatically bump up those revisions based on your triggers. The second it's signed out, or the second it's signed back in, or after it goes through a workflow process when the last person approves it, it can then up the revision. So the way we've got this listed right now, we can see all the information about the different versions. We can also see relationships between files. If I select this icon right here, I can see it has X references within this drawing. Adept has been able to manage CAD file formats for its initial inception, for its whole life. So we're very, very good at managing and reading those. This is something that you typically wouldn't see from a Windows folder structure. You wouldn't know that this drawing is also referenced by these other documents. And this relationship management is a key part of Adept's success. Now, we talked a little bit about 2 of the items. If we go back to our PowerPoint slide here, we talked a little bit about locating the documents. Next, we want to talk about collecting some of that tribal knowledge. And one of the ways that that can be done is in a batch import. So when somebody knows information about files, they can select multiple files, not just one at a time, and they can perform what we call a batch update. So it gives them the ability to go and fill in information one time, and it will populate all of those fields in all of those files. So gathering information as documents are coming into Adept, again, gathering that information before it gets lost is very, very important. So batch importing of documents and batch updating of data is a very, very useful tool that's in Adept. We're going to talk about a little bit more about batch updating data and data importer tool a little bit later on. So we've looked at searching for files and sorting them different ways, but I forgot to point out a couple others. Another one here is the actual library browser. For anybody that was used to going to the old J drive to find their files on a network folder structure, for many of our customers, that same folder structure is right here in the library browser. So if they used to go to the J drive and then they went to a designs folder and then this folder and they drilled their way down through subfolders, they could still do that. That same structure is represented right here. What we've noticed over the years is after a lot of our customers start using Adept after the first couple weeks, the folder structure really becomes less and less used to find files and more used for administrative. There's much faster ways of locating those. So I've located a file here, and I also want to be able to see how other people can gain access to this, managing change. So for example, I made an edit to that file. I marked it up. We're going to look at the markup in just a second. In fact, let's go there right now here. If I switch over to Adept's web clients, you can use web clients to access documents as well. And this gets a little bit into the collaboration that's a little more unique to campus-style environments, where you have outside access for vendors or contractors, but this same web client can be used internal for maintenance people that are doing work out on the floor, or somebody out in the field searching for different documents. To be able to go and say, show me everything involved with a specific plant and locate all that information very, very quickly is really useful. The home page is designed to have favorites and save searches for that user that's logged in, so they can be brought right to the files that they need very quickly. There's still a search card, excuse me. There's also the old folder structure that we just talked about, so if anybody was used to that, there's also the file guides that we talked about. So depending on what method you want to use to locate your files, you can use that same search method. Also built in is the ability to view documents right from here and print them and mark them up. You can also go in and assign files or unassign them and take part in a workflow. We're going to see a touch of that a little bit later on. So if I come back here, this file has been marked up. In fact, if we take a peek here, you'll be able to see the comments on it. So managing change for many of our customers starts with viewing a drawing and making a request to move something, maybe marking it up, putting a comment on it, and what you want moved. This will also track who makes each comment. So if somebody else comes in and says, oh, you know, we also need an electrical panel on this back corner right over here, it'll keep track that that person that was logged on, who I'm logged in as right now, Adam Armstrong, is the one that put that in there. So it keeps track of who's making each comment, so you don't have to save separate documents. This is a huge collaborative benefit. Also, if I check this out, everybody's aware of it in bright red. Doesn't matter how they go about searching for it, everybody knows that currently Adam is editing that. Now, for the sake of time, I checked it out a little earlier and I made a change to the file just so that we could see this in action. When you check in a file, that can begin a review process. This is something that can be configured, turned on or off for different folders and different processes for different folders. I can also assign this to a specific person so it'll notify them. So this will then kick off, if you have it configured, and I forgot to start my email there, it'll kick off an email to that person letting them know, hey, the following file has been put into a review process, oops, not that one, and it needs your attention. Here's the links and here's the information about those. That's not the actual email. The one that is the actual email probably popped up in the background here. But the concept is really straightforward. Everybody can see that file. If we come in here, we can see that that file is currently assigned to Adam. Again, everybody's aware of what's happening with it. If they click down here in the workflow tab, they can see this is a 4-step process, and currently it's on this step right here. After this step, then it has to be approved by 2 people in this group. So workflow is something that you get to configure. This is configurable by your anybody that you give the access right to. You can give certain users the ability to be workflow administrators. They can design their own workflows, add steps, set up alerts. If this whole workflow process takes more than 2 days, we'd like a reoccurring email to go out every day to Chris Fabry until that gets addressed. So these are all configurable and changeable workflows. Even once you create them, you can change them on the fly, and documents will have to go through those next steps. If you'd like to see more on that, definitely check out some of our other recorded demonstrations or ask. We're happy to go deeper on workflows with you folks. One other thing that I forgot to mention, actually, no, we'll keep going with this one. So at this point, I've checked this file in, and now anybody using the web client can go and view. They'll see that latest information. You can also lock some users down so that they don't see the last, they only see the last approved version of the document. They have no access to any older versions at all. That's part of the security as well. The next piece we wanted to look at is transmittals, and that actually plays a little bit off of one that's a little bit closer to campus. So we talked about number one already. Sorry, I jumped ahead. Coordinating vendors and contractors, being able to use that web client. Not only are they able to see what's happening with the files that they have access to, if you give them the rights, they can also participate in that workflow process and mark things up and make comments, or even people out in the field being able to circle something and say, we got a problem with this. Maybe take a picture and attach it or upload it through the web client. Another one that's really important specifically to campus-style facilities is different compliance and guidelines. Now, I know distribution centers and machine layout facilities have something similar, but in some cases, there are different compliance and different guidelines. So we're going to talk a little bit about that one. And also, this is a very big one. One of our customers needed to get their paper-based legacy data more accessible to their engineering departments and their field crews. So their big push was to eliminate. They had 3 million paper documents, and they had to get them into a searchable database. Some of their buildings are approaching 100 years old. Their engineers frequently access drawings of buried underground utilities that were installed 50, 70, 80 years ago. That information was invaluable if they could just get their hands on it quickly. And they had many cases where they were not getting their hands on those very quickly. Also for maintenance and, machine layouts and distribution, you're going to have machine maintenance as well as those type of regulations. Even some of the other facilities, you're going to have equipment maintenance, might be a little bit different. And then another one that was really important here was getting the most out of your space. Now, I know that everybody has to get the most out of their space, but when you're talking about manufacturing floors and distribution centers, they bank every dollar of getting as much as they can on that. It's one of their most critical areas. So we'll hit on a little bit on that. And there's a couple others that we're not going to cover today, but they're items that are something you should be thinking about for the future if you're not already. Sustainability, really just keeping track of all of those documents throughout a building's life cycle, even if that building leaves your possession, being able to deliver it in that ability, deliver it as a complete package, but design itself for sustainability is a level above what we're going to be talking about today. Changing work styles. So this is another challenge to think about for the future. With the styles of offices and equipment locations changing regularly, that's also something to consider. And then emergency preparedness. Now, we covered quite a few different items there, and I want to go back and show you just a few more of how Adept addresses those that we just showed. So let's switch back one more time to Adept here. So the first one is working with some of these vendors and working with vendors and contractors and how to do that. Many of our customers will use transmittals to create this. But also many of our customers use what I'm about to show you, our transmittal generator, for other purposes to solve different business needs in their organization. Some of our customers need to deliver packets of documents to a vendor and track what was sent, securely deliver project proposals or bids, gather together work orders or information for a change order or as-built design. Really, at the end of the day, there's a common underlying need here. Communicate documents and information in an efficient and accurate way. And we want to be tracking and documenting what was delivered, as well as later on down the road, you're going to want to be able to call this information back up really quickly. So Adept does a lot of this with the transmittal generator. I've got a transmittal created here. You can create your own new documents from your own transmittal templates. I've got several different ones: a submittal package template, a work order template, a mechanical template, architectural. You can use an auto naming feature. In this example, I've required that they type in a key number. Actually, that was not the right number. 3367, that was the right number. And in this example, it's also going to create a next available number in this naming convention. Again, my own creation of a naming convention. You can design your own. And then all the editing of this is done from a dialog box. So if I come in and pick a specific company, it'll then give me options. It auto-fills or auto-populates several fields all at once. This is going to cut down on typing and retyping or mistyping, and it also narrows my selection of contacts for that particular company. I can also create a distribution list. This might be going out to a whole plant manager's list rather than picking one single email or having to pick several single emails and group them together. There's also other fields where you can have pull downs for dates, pull downs. These are all, again, just an example of fields of information. This is another example of you select one field and it fills in several all at once. So if we preview this, I've now just hand-filled in this PDF, not hand-filled this PDF in. I automated the process and sped that up very quickly and didn't really have to worry about mistypes. The next thing that I might want to do is attach some files to this. So in here, when I pick my files, and then I can use whatever tools I want to search for them, I can go to the file guide view, and I can say I want this drawing, this one, and this one. I can say include children. I can remove them if I decide I don't want them. I can add to this later on. In this case, I just want this one and this one. And then for some other files, an Excel spreadsheet, there's also a supporting document that we had, a photograph that somebody took of the problem. So what this is doing is it's adding to that transmittal, and it's building the connected relationship between those documents, and it's also filling out information in the transmittal. If we take a peek at it now, you can see we have a file listing that it was reading that information from those documents. So not only is the creation of the transmittal sped up in this method, if I check this in now, this could begin a workflow process. We've already seen that begin, so I'm not going to do that one again today. And it could require that certain people approve it before it can be sent out. If I come back here now, I can see, oops, I meant to go to this one right here. I can see here's our transmittal. I can see the information about it, and it's ready to be sent off. When you send off a transmittal, there's a host of different options. First off, what do I want to send with this? Do I want to send the transmittal all by itself? Or do I want to include attached links? Perhaps I'm sending this to other Adept users, so I can send them just links in the email, and the email will stay nice and small. When they click on the link, it'll launch Adept and bring them right to it. Same thing goes if they're web users. I can send them a URL for the web login. Or do I want to include all of these documents in my email? And then there's options to zip them up, put a password on it, encrypt it if you want to, or even ask the Adept viewer to view each of these files and save them as a PDF and send the PDF in place of the actual drawing files. Whatever you end up choosing, you can then send it off. Adept will create the email, you can personalize it, and then send it away. One of the big benefits, though, is that last part that we talked about on the PowerPoint slide was being able to call this back up very quickly at another time. So built into Adept is a search tool where you can search for any transmittals that were sent to a certain company, or any transmittals that were sent to a specific contact, or within a certain date range. And when you find your transmittals, you're also down here able to see exactly who it was sent to, when it was sent, exactly what versions of what file were sent out to with it, and who it was sent to, without having to hunt through somebody's email that may or may not be at the company anymore or at the organization anymore. So that one's a really important one, collaborating with outside vendors and contractors. Another part is creating reports. Anytime you have a listing of files, you can output different reports. There's tools to be able to output, oh, did I put the wrong one? Oh, darn it. Sorry about that, folks. It's right in front of me. I'm going to do the search. Well, we got all kinds of reports. I'll go with a system report here. So no, that was not the one. That's not what I was looking for. But you're able to output any of these documents in standard format report styles. You get to design those. Adept comes with a built-in utility to be able to design your layouts and your reports. Same thing with the transmittal formats. We were looking at this as an example of one. If we preview this, this is just our layout. You'll get to design your own, and those tools come with Adept. The last item we wanted to look at was security for all of this. All the security is actually managed from this one location. So even though you may have multiple offices with documents at multiple sites, multiple locations, you can still have one version of Adept that's managing all of those remote vaults of files. There's also the ability to set up replication, which is part of Adept. This can be used for a couple different reasons. One, you can be replicating projects that are needed at multiple sites. There's still one Adept, and when somebody comes into Adept and checks it out, it shows it as being out for everyone. The benefit of having them replicated at the other location is that when somebody checks it out from the other location, it's a short hop from their server to their work area that they edit the file, as opposed to coming through the wire. The other reason that automated replication is used is for redundancy and emergency preparedness for disaster recovery. Along with a couple other tools that are part of Adept, you can actually set up environments to have emergency system failover. And for some of the different OSHA regulations and some of the different document retention regulations that might be required. And the last items here we really just want to point out that our customers tell us that Synergis Adept solves these topmost pressing problems that they have. And these are just a few next steps to consider after you leave today's webinar. Synergis Adept enables increased productivity and efficiency in daily operations. And it's really a big boon to the bottom line of any organization. If you're ready to go deeper with Adept, we suggest you call to speak with your account manager. In addition, you can take time to grab the handout that we've made available in the handout pane. You can go and download that. That's the top challenges of engineering data and document management, and this will help you justify the investment in a solution like this as well. We also recommend that you visit our demo and resource center to view over 40 videos, 20 articles, and white papers at synergissoftware.com. And also don't forget to check out our blog, which has over 60 great articles that address trends and topics about engineering document management industry.